I think the Midwest recruiting session is now over.
You think?
It's never over. You'll come out. You'll come out here, Aaron Kaplan.
I think Jesse has to put a background of New York City in the behind him. Just to make everybody feel warm and welcome.
Yeah, I have to
little
find.
update. Abba asked me for the link for the YouTube today. So we never know. We may have gotten him. We may have hooked him.
Oh, parents, it's funny. When did I left a message for Abba this afternoon. I said,
Look at that in Kirov now.
I know, I want to do business. I left a message for Abba. I said, if you were tuned in last night, I was going to spend money on Howie Rose to tell you to get a copier machine for me. But you didn't tune in.
Rivara, they charge more for commercial purposes.
Okay, good, fine. It's okay.
Yes, his mother's trying very hard to get him.
Yaakov, maybe she'll do a cameo for us.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Only if you could pronounce the name just like he pronounced it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. Yeah, 3 lines up from the bottom. Yeah, base on my base. That's what we're up to, right? 3 lines up from the bottom. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So V'Amar Reb Yirmiyah V'Itamer Reb Chia bar Abba Manspach Tzayfim Avram. Right. So that all the double letters that are in the Aleph base, which is Mem, Nun, Tzadi, Pei, and Chaf. Right. So those are all. We had this Gemara on Shabbos already. So those are. Tzayfim literally means lookers, means seers. It means the Nevi'im. The Nevi'im are the ones that put in these extra letters, what we call the Enda or the Sofit letters. So the Gemara says, so it was the Nevi'im v'Tizbra. Could it be the Nevi'im? Aksiv Elam mitzvahs. It says in the Torah, these are the mitzvahs. She'ein Navi Rashai l'chadash davar me'ata. That a Navi is not allowed to be mechadash anything new. So how could you say that the Nevi'im added 5 new letters to the Aleph base? That's one question. The mem and the samach that were in the luchas. On Talmud Aleph now. B'neis hayoim, they were in the luchas with a nes. So what meaning why? Because the luchas, the words were chiseled out all the way through from one end to the other end, right? So you could see from both sides of the luchas, you can see the letters. So the letters went all the way through. So how did you have a mem or an endemem and a samach? How do you have that?
Why can't a Navi make something new? I don't understand.
But that's what we learn out from the pasuk of Elam. It says.
So what about everybody when they come and make a din? They say, well, you got to listen to them because it says Loisasur. That's right. Loisasur is telling you they could hear things.
No, but they're not adding. They're not making new things. They're just adding Gedarim to the Torah. The Rabbanan.
So this is it's another form of a letter. They didn't add new letters. It's 22 letters in the Aleph base. They made another shape. No, they're very artistic.
I know. I hear the kasha. Right? Okay. I mean, then what are they adding exactly? Just so you put the spell. Put a different and a chanami.
See, Yaakov, whatever you think you don't know in Digduk, I don't know a lot more than you. So.
So I think the two of us together ain't exactly, you know what I mean? We're not exactly going to knock down buildings with our knowledge of Diktuk. But
were the luchas carved in Ksav Ivri? I thought the luchas were Ksav Ivri and the Sefer Torah was Ksav Ashuras.
I have no idea. It's not from this Gemara. It's not mashma like that.
Right.
Okay, but anyways, let's explain why it was a nes. So basically, a samach and a mem are the 2 letters that are circles. So that means that they had to have, in order to create, let's say, a samach, you have to have a ball in the middle, so that the letter can go around it. Right here we go. We got to, right. I found this little thing here. Okay, for Purim. Look at that. Anyways, it's good to have kids running around. So
I
if
think
this
this
is
is Rabbi Stefanski's share.
there you go. There's some competition. Aaron Kaplan, watch out. But anyway, so if this is the Sama, oh, it's Mamish Basher who was sitting here. If this is the Sama, so this part is hanging in midair. It's hanging in midair. How is it being held? Meaning all the other letters have some sort of connection, like a regular mem or an aleph, right, or a base. There's a connection to the rest of the stone that's around it. So there's no miracle. But here, if you have a samach and a mem, so this middle thing, how is it connected to the rest of the luchas? It has to be hanging in midair, right? But whatever it is, that mem, the standard mem, would have a connection, right? Because it's open on the side, right? So then what is it? So it has to be that it's got to be a mem sofit or an endemem, as we say it. So that's not the Nevi'im. That means that from the Torah. The Torah has an endemem.
Are we bringing an example from a nace?
No, that's not. No, but we're just saying that if it was your standard mem, then it can't be. It wouldn't be a nace. So it must be that they also had the endemems, right? No, that's all. That's what it's saying. It's just it must be they had it. It can't be the Nevi'im created it, right? Anyway, so that's basically what it's saying. Then there's the issue where we use them at the end of words. That's the way we end up using these letters at the end of words, right? And the mem and the nun stuff that's not used in the middle, but it's not so pashut. It used to be that they were used in the middle. Okay, so whatever it is, but that's the kasha. So it can't. So two kashas. One, the Nevi'im are not allowed to create their own new things. That's one. And two is that it was clearly around from the Aseret HaDibros times. Yeah, fine. So Gemara answers from the top line, in Mahavahava, it was around. Like we just said, and they didn't know which was in the middle of the word and which was at the end of the word. And they said that the open letters go in middle of the word, and the closed letters go at the end of the word. The stumen b'soif teva, and the stumen go at the end of the word. So when it says soif, ela mitzvah shein navi asa l'chadash davar me'ata. So, but that means the navi was being mechadish, right? Ella. So Gemara answers no. Shakum b'chazu b'yastum. What happened is that it was around, and then everybody forgot. Klal Yisrael forgot, which is also interesting that they forgot what these letters are, Manspach letters, these 5 letters. Klal Yisrael forgot about it, and then the Nevi'im came and they reestablished it. Right? So that's fine. So that's basically how we're saying it. Now the Gemara. So again, so really, these letters, the end of letters, were created from Matan Torah, and the Nevi'im, they were forgotten by Klal Yisrael. The Nevi'im reestablished them. Right? Fine. Then the Gemara goes through another case like this. V'amar Rabbi Yirmi v'yitem Rav Chia bar Ava Targum shel Torah Onkelos Hager Amru Mipi Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yeshua. The Targum of the Torah was made by Onkelos, and he learned it from Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. Which, okay, does anybody understand exactly what that means? So what, he just wrote it down? So it's not really Targum Onkelos, it's the Targum Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, isn't it? No? Was he the secretary?
It sounds like he was a Talmud of theirs.
I'm saying, but he heard it, Mipi Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yeshua.
You have to have a Messiah and everything in Torah.
Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin were not created by Rabbeinu Tam.
Okay, that's a different kasha. How they go? That's
they were just popularized. So
yeah, but I'm just but it's just saying Uncle Sager Omru Mipi Rabbi Eliezer. So he said it over Mipi Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yeshua. Okay, so then it's not really Targum Onkelos, it's Targum Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yeshua. No.
What does it mean? They taught Taich in the Torah.
I would really put a dent in all those mices about Onkelos.
That wasn't my intention with the kasha, but yeah.
Are we talking about the entire Targum or just on this one topic?
No, the entire Targum of the Torah. Right? The Aramaic translation of the Torah, which is not just a straight translation. there's also explanations in there, right? So, but that's Onkelos Hager
right?
said it in the name of Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Shua. Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
It means that they taught him the taich, or he extrapolated from their shiurim what the taich was.
Oh, that would answer my question if that's true. Right? That would answer the question. So maybe Taka, that's the answer. Okay, anyway, so the Targum of Onkelos, Onkelos wrote the Targum of the Torah, Targum Shon Nevi'im, and the Targum of Novi, Yonasan ben Uziel Amru, he said it Mipi Chagi, Zechariah, and Malachi. He said it b'shem the Nevi'im of Chagi, Zechariah, and Malachi. Right? Now, that can't be, right? He can't, I mean, historically, Yonasan ben Uziel couldn't hear it from Chagi, Malachi, Zechariah, Malachi. There's a way, I mean, I don't know history, right? We need Shmuley for this, but there's many years, Tovi, right? You ask him.
Chag and Malachi and Zechariah were the
Between
beginning
the
of the
Nevi'im and the Tanoim.
Yonasan ben Uziel was the Talmud of Hillel.
Yeah, so it
At
must
the end of the
be
second
that
base of Mikdash.
right, so it's
What?
a long time.
What'd you say,
Yeah.
Dovi?
Chag and Malachi and Zechariah were the last Nevi'im, which were part of the Anshe Knesset Agdol in the beginning of the second base of Mikdash. Yonasan ben Uziel was the Talmud of Hillel at the end of the second base of Mikdash. So it was 300-something years difference between them.
Right. So he heard it. Mipi. It must have been Mipi. It just, going all the way back to them. Right?
Also, Targum Yonasan ben Uziel is al pi Kabbalah.
Well, they say
So-
Onkelos is also.
So are we saying
What?
the same thing by Onkelos, that he wasn't really a Talmud, he wasn't a direct Talmud of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shua? Maybe he was generations later also.
Could be. It's possible.
Same thing as the line after.
Right.
Maybe
So
the
then
line
that would
before
answer.
applies to that.
So you're saying that would answer the question that I asked.
I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm just saying maybe the line before has the same thing, that they're not, it wasn't direct.
Right,
Was years apart.
Fair enough. Yeah, that could be. And then maybe he gets more credit for that, for compiling it, etc. That's sort of what the Gershon was saying. Anyways, okay, so that's what it is. So Yonasan ben Uziel was for Torah, for Nevi'im, and Onkelos was for the Torah. So Yotzes of Paschal V'amar, Paschal went on and said, Mihu zeh shegilas Yisrael levnei Adam. Who is this that is revealing my hidden things to people? Amad Yonasan ben Uziel, Aragla v'amar, and Yonasan ben Uziel stood up on his feet and said, Anihu shegalisi Yisrael levnei Adam. I'm the one that's guilty for revealing the hidden things of your Torah. Gali v'du lefanecha, right? That it's known in front of you. Shaloi l'chvay di'asisa. I didn't do it for my own covet. V'loi l'chvay beis Abba, not even for my father's house. Elo l'chvay t'chasisi. Shaloi yarbu machlokes b'Yisrael, right? That you shouldn't be marba machlokes b'Yisrael. Since there's so many different ways of understanding pshat, so my explanation is going to explain these psukim that are very difficult to understand, and that will minimize machlokes. Right, which I don't know exactly. Since when do we shy away from having machlokes and pshatim in Torah and Tanakh? Right, I don't know if that's a kasha, but Rabban, I know for sure you're masking to that kasha for me. Right?
100%. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was really for you. I was saying to represent you, but that's right. I don't know since what. So what? Well, Yavrum machlokes. That's not called machlokes. That's called two different people learning pshat.
Ayin panim l'Torah without even. Yeah.
Right.
Is
Anyway,
the Goyim the only one that understands this? One of the Goyim's greatest accomplishments was that he was able to say, I was able to touch up all the machlokes, Nigla and Nister, except for one. That would be this Pshat Gemara.
Maybe. That's okay. Yeah, fine. And not only that, but Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel wanted to do the Targum of Ksuvim. Now, Ksuvim is already much deeper, right? Ksuvim is Tilim and what is it called? And all the Megillas and all that. Yeah. So Yotzes of Paschal v'amar lo dayecha. That's enough, right? My time Hashem de Ispe Kates Mashiach. Since it says in there Kates Mashiach, you can't go making this into. You can't be Megala that in to people. Right? So I don't know.
This week's Parsha.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Yaakov.
First Rashi.
Yeah, Bikish Yaakov Legalis is a case.
Yeah.
Oh, very good, Taka. Yeah. So, okay, so what's the shot here? That he didn't want anybody, he didn't want the common folk to know it? Is that what it is? Those that couldn't read Lashon Kodesh, he didn't want them to know it? Is that the pshat? Hashem didn't want the common folk to know it?
No, I mean, like what Benny just said, the Yaakov didn't tell it to the Shvatim.
Right, but I'm saying, but it's in, you mean, it's in there. If you can know how to find it, it's in Ksuvim. That's what he's saying. It's in there, just we don't know how to find it. So he would tell everybody how to find it, I guess.
Well, why would you want to know that Mashiach won't be coming for another 1,800 years? How would that
have
help you?
1,800 years to play?
That's yeah, no, that's a good point, Doctor. I hear that. It would be depressing, you're saying.
Yeah. No, but everyone will have a thing. I'll wait for a year before Mashiach comes, then I'll get.
Well,
my
Doctor,
act
are you depressed that we're in Gullus for 2,000 years now? Really, seriously, are you depressed?
As a child of survivors, I would say yes.
Oh, so child of survivors, okay. I didn't know you were gonna pull that. I didn't know you were gonna pull the race card on me.
Howard knows the funniest thing you've ever said, and probably the last funny thing you'll say. But that was very good. Howard.
Could be, Ken's side, you know.
Yeah.
You know what, Doc? Uncle Moshe would have to change his
Chas
song.
v'sholem are making any kind of fun about people who came out of the Churban. Chas v'sholem.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Anyhow, we
you're
would have
right.
to change. Uncle Moshe would have to change his song. We want Mashiach in 1,842 years.
And it doesn't fit with the song.
Well, he can have a new album every year.
Yeah.
I think he's talking about Achishana anyway, not the cakes.
Okay, whichever it is. Okay, so he didn't want it known, right? He didn't want it known. Which, a lot of people will say that we don't want Art Scroll telling the Yesodis of Shas to people either, right? The anti-English translation people. Okay, fine. The Targum Shel Torah, the Gemara asks, the Targum Shel Torah, Unkelus Ager Amru. Did Unkelus really say it? V'amar of Ika Barav and Amar of Hanan al Amar Rab, Ma'it of Siv. Vayikru b'Sefer b'Torah Lekim Mefarish V'Saim Seichel V'Yavinu B'Mikra. Right, so it says they read the Torah of Hashem, and they were able to read it mefurish, and with they were able to put seichel, and they understood the psukim, right? And then it says vayikru b'Sefer b'Torah Elikim. What does that mean? Vayikru b'Sefer b'Torah Elikim is that mikra. That's learning psukim, right? Mefarish is targum, and mefarish means clear, means it was a translation to it. The same seichel elu hapsukim, and that's that they split the Torah up into different psukim. Right, because the Torah, as everybody knows, the Torah does not have any what's it called? What is it called? Not grammar, punctuation. V'yavinu b'mikra elu piskei tamim, and understanding how to read it, that's the trup, what we call the trup. V'amri lo elu ha-Mesiris. Some say that's the Mesiris, meaning because we know that there's some psukim are mikra, some psukim are mikra, what do you call it? Mikra, Yeshem Lemesiris, Yeshem Lemikra, different ways to spell it, different ways to pronounce it. Either way, you see that this is before Unkelus, and they obviously had all these things. So Shakchum
The case of this Targum is Badafka Targum Unkelus. The Eibishter told Moshe Rabbeinu, Bayras HaTorah Hazois. He wrote it in 70 languages.
So it's a different, you think it's a different Targum?
There's 70 of them already. Why should it be another one with Unkelus?
Yeah, okay, I don't know. I mean, the Gemara is obviously assuming it's the same Targum, right? Or maybe Gemara just
I get that, but why is the Gemara assuming it is Badafka?
Yeah, I don't know. So then the Gemara answers the same as before.
One second, isn't there a story where the different people put into different rooms to translate, and they translate exactly the same?
Yes.
Right. So, why can't you assume that whatever this one, it's the same one? That's it. It's one you translate in one Torah. It's one Targum. When you translate it into another language, it comes out. If you do it right, it comes out the same way.
I hear.
That was Greek.
I understand what that was. I'm just using that to explain this.
I mean, this is Rav Yirmiyah or Rav Chia bar Abba. So that's their opinion is that this is Targum Unkelus. Other people might say it's different. It's just there.
Right. Okay. I don't know. I imagine that's of all the targums. It's just somebody did a targum, so targum is a targum, but I have no idea. Either way, so Gemara's Bataras Shokum b'chazu b'yastim. They forgot it and then they went back and they miyasid it. And then and now also we would be remiss without saying that. What about we said psukim are obviously from way back when. What about prakim? So as we know, prakim were created by the goyim. Most opinions hold that all the prakim in Tanakh were created by the goyim. Which sometimes you look at the prakim and you see like, why is the prayer stopped over here? And you say there's no shaykhis. It has no like, why should it be a new parak? Because the prakim were created by the goyim. Okay, fine.
But then why did we keep it?
I have no idea. I don't know. That's a good
You
question.
won't go make new prakim.
I want.
It's a relatively good
But
filing
I'm saying
system.
Art Scroll or Mitsuda, none of these guys thought to go through it and come up with it, just like Steinsaltz changed the daf. No one thought to put things back in order.
I don't know. It's in order. It's just where they put the different prakim.
Well, that's what I meant. No one thought to actually separate it into the way.
I don't know. I
should
once
be.
heard
It's
from
called the
somebody.
Aliyahs. The Aliyahs, Rishon, Sheni, Shlishi. That's the way we typically separate them.
In the Ali Shore and a lot of songs, they say Aliyah Revi or something like that.
Yeah, oh,
And
so
they
that's
say the
somebody, right. So somebody said, right. So the Chafetz Chaim seemingly never quotes. I didn't check into this. Doesn't quote prakim. He doesn't quote prakim, but I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, fine. My shnos. And then I want to ask.
Why would we're so worried about like Chukas Agayim and things like that, but by what's the most important to us in the world is our Torah, that we're not bothered by that.
Because we got it for free. They did the translation for free. Don't you
Right.
understand?
The breakdown just made sense.
It was a
Okay,
good
but
price.
it's still a strange thing. It's still a strange thing.
The Goyim also split up Shmuel Aleph and Beis and Malachim Aleph and Beis, and we kept it that way.
And that
That's
could be
why-
weird also.
That's why
And
most of
weird
us
also.
don't learn it, Dovi.
I'm saying that's weird also. We just don't know what Shmuel Aleph and Beis are.
Right.
It just the breakdown makes sense. That's all. So it just stayed.
I hear. Okay.
You
Whatever.
even knew there was a small Aleph and a small base. There you go.
Right. That's right.
Yichus question.
Why is it that the Gemara previously discusses the reason why there was a targum for there was an explanation targum Yonasan ben Uziel and gives a reason for it, but there's no reason as to why Unclos wrote down the targum. Meaning,
What do you mean?
it says Rav Yonasan ben Uziel wrote it down because people were going to forget it or he didn't want machlokas or anything like that. But the Gemara doesn't say a reason why Unclos wrote down the targum. What do you need it for?
I think because I think that's Pashut that he wrote it. He wrote it just to explain the Torah.
But everybody can explain it in whatever language. Meaning,
Right, so no,
what
but
do you
Yonatan
need him
ben
to
Uziel-
see? What's he adding? Is he actually adding? Is it more than just a straight targum in a different language, or is there a drash to it as well?
I think the Gemara is going to discuss this. Well, the Gemara is really going to discuss that he had specific psukim that nobody had pshat in. Right. So that's why I think, yeah, I agree with you that there's the specific psukim in the Nevi'im that nobody really had pshat in. So he was trying to take away any pshatim. So that's more was the chiddush. Masha Ein Kain, how do you say it? The Targum for Onkelos was just to explain Chumash. I think.
Gemara says it came, and doesn't the Gemara later on say that it was part of Har Sinai? They forgot it.
The Gemara said it. Yeah. Right. The Gemara just said it. Right. So Shakum be right.
Right. So. Oh, you said it already. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, but the pshat is. But what he's asking, what is a pshat? Or he's asking, what's a pshat that Hashem only seemed to have tainas on the Nevi'im part, not on the Torah part. Right. Anyways,
Right.
okay. So let's see about it.
Because it came down. It came together with the Torah. Who's gonna have a taina on?
No. So what do you mean? Shakum v'chazav v'yostim is going on what?
On the Targum.
Yes, it's only on the Targum, not on the.
Not on
everything. I don't know. I don't know if it's going on both or not.
What do you mean on
You guys have the whole weekend to fight over this.
Okay, the mashkiach said we got to go right. All right.
Was Lashon HaKodesh ever a spoken language?
No. It's over.
Yeah, 5-minute break for
point.
questions.
Yeah, should go wait online for your pizza. Anyway, fine. Okay, let's go back. So, Ma'ashna deraisa deloy mistazeh afat the Navi. This is how come the Torah? Maybe Yori, this answers your question, right? How come the Torah, the world didn't shake, and on the Navi when they did the Targum, the whole Eretz Yisrael had an earthquake seemingly. So deraisa b'v'shul milsa, right? So the Torah, it's mafurish, it's very clear. The Navi ikamili the mefarshin, ikamili the mesasman, but in the Nevi'im there's clear things and then there's very hidden things. So Memela, it was a little bit more of a chiddush. I think that does answer your question. No, I think so. So now here's some examples of psukim. So b'yaymahu yigdal hamisped v'Yerushalayim kemisped hadariman bebikas megidon. Right. So on that day there's going to be a big avelus in Yerushalayim, like the avelus hadardimon in bikas megidon. Right. This is all going in the future. Yeah, this is a pasuk in Zechariah. So and it's a machlokes exactly who is the hesped going to be going on. Yosef, if it's not for the targum of this pasuk, that nobody would know what it's saying, right? But Yoimahu Yaski Mispad of Yerushalayim, that on day there's going to be a lot of hesped in Yerushalayim, ki Mispada the Acha ben Imri, like Acha ben Amri. The Kotal Yosei Hadar Dimon ben Tavar Yimon Be'arom as Gilad. And he was killed by Hadar Dimon, right? The son of Tardimon in Ramois Gilad. Ukemispada the Yoshua bar Oman, and like the Hespedim that were given on Yoshua bar Oman, the Kotal Yosei, Pari Chagira of the Bikas Megiddo. And he was killed by Pari, the what do you call it? Pari Chagira. What's it called?
Lame.
Lame, right. He was lame. Is that the same as Pari Nechei that we had in the end of Tainus? Or is that the same one? It's the same,
Yeah.
same Pari? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So fine. At least I remembered that. He looked pretty good, right? Fine. Then it says another passage where Isiani Daniel Levadi Samara, right? He says, I Daniel saw this. Mara is from seeing, meaning a nevius. Yeah. And the people that with me didn't see it. Loiro Samara didn't see it. But meaning they didn't see what Daniel saw, but they got very scared and they went and hid. Who are these people that were with Daniel? It was Chagi Zechariah Malachi. Right? So they obviously had some koyach to have some form of feeling of Nevi'us, but they didn't actually see it. And right, they were better than Daniel, and he was better than them. They were better than him, that they were Nevi'im, but he was not a Navi. Right? So Rashi says, what do you mean he wasn't a Navi? Of course he was a Navi. Right? But so Rashi says what it means is he had Nevi'us for Klal Yisrael, but he was never supposed to communicate that to Klal Yisrael. That's what that means. He was better than them. Daniel was better than Chagi Zechariah Malachi. He was able to see, but they were not able to see. He was able to actually see the Nevi'us, and they were not. Okay. So if they didn't see Chagi Zechariah Malachi, they didn't see. So why were they scared? My time of Isa. Why were they scared? So Gemara says, Afagav the Inu Chazu, even though they didn't see, Mazalayu Chazu, their mazel saw it. Yeah, meaning. So what does this mean? Amar Ravina Shmami no. What this means, what we hear from this, is somebody who, for whatever reason, is scared. He has nervin, right? He's scared. Avagav the Iu Chazi. That means that he's scared for no reason, but that means even though he's not seeing it, but Mazle Chazi, his mazel is seeing it, and that's what's causing him the nerves. So my takate, like that's when people say that they have a bad feeling. They have a bad feeling of this. So yeah. So my takate, what is the takana? Likri kriya shema, it should be kriya shema. Right? So and then this is also Gemara and brachas. The person shouldn't think bad things. If you think bad things, it may happen. That type of thing. We always got to think positive. Think positive. That's what the Gemara is basically saying. But what happens if he's standing in a place that's dirty and he can't reach Shema? He should jump 4 amas away. Right? and then that will change his place. V'iloi leimach, and if he can't jump, then he should say this: Iza de beitavcha shemena minoi. The goats in the shlachtais, in the base shchita, are fatter than me. Meaning, whatever's making him scared, he says, don't come to me, don't shecht me, shecht the goats. They're a lot fatter than me. Yeah, fine. Okay, so that's the end of the Tanakh Gemara. Something more to say.
I saw assignment of son Ramchal last night. Pumped on this Gemara. And Derech Hashem says that there's 5 parts to the neshama, and the mazel that gets connected to the shemayim somehow. That's the mazel that sees it. We're not connected to that part. We don't have a relationship with that part. That part's not part of our guf. But sometimes when we have these like intuitions and stuff about the future, what's going to happen, that's coming from that that part of the neshama that is still connected to shemayim. Just saw this last night.
Okay, I don't know what that means exactly, but
I don't know how it ends. I don't know how you put that into the end of this Gemara about if you're scared to then say this goat is fatter than me. I don't know why that would help for such a thing, but yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting. I hear you.
These
Okay,
goats the same ones as the Zaire Kaddish Meibasa B'chalav within an hour?
I don't know. Maybe these are the goats from Chad Gadya. I was just throwing that out. I have no idea. There might be some sort of connection. I don't know.
Greatest of all time.
Yeah, as much I understand that about as much as I understand Yisrael's Ramchal that he just said over, right? Okay, so Vahashtadam with Medina Ve'ir L'drasha. Now that we said that we're going to dashen out the words, right? This was the end of yesterday's daf. That Medina and Ir Ve'ir, right? That is coming to tell us that it's coming to tell us that there's walled cities, unwalled cities, etc. So now mishpacha l'mayasa. And then when the pasuk says mishpacha twice, so what does that mean? L'mayasa. So Rav Yossi Bar Chanina lahavi mishpachas kahuna v'levia. It's coming to include kahanim and levim shemevatel and aveidasan uvayin l'shmaya mikra megillah. They mevatel their avoda and they have to come here in the Megillah. Dam Rav Yehuda Marav kahanim b'aveidasan v'levim b'duchnan v'Yisrael b'mamodan. Right, kahanim on their avodah and the Levim on the duchen where they're singing, when in Israel in the mamadas, right, that they're standing around over the karbanos. Kulam mevatan avodasan, they're all mevatel their avodah, vayin l'shmaya mikra megillah, and they come here the Megillah. So the Megillah is so important that it's mevatel mitzvahs min ha-Torah, right? Yeah. So we'll see. Wait till I'm based. Tani nami hachi. They all have to come here to Megillah. And so Beis Rebbe said, you got to leave yeshiva to go hear the Megillah. Right? And it's a kal v'chomer to avodah. Ma avodah she chamura, avodah which is chamor. Mevatlina, and we're mevatel the avodah in order to go to hear Megillah, Talmud Torah like Kol Shekain. So Talmud Torah for sure, right? Talmud Torah is not as strict as Avodah. So the Gemara is going to ask, the Avodah Chamura mi Talmud Torah, is the Avodah really more strict than Talmud Torah? When Yeshua was by Yerichai, and he lifted up his eyes, and he saw somebody standing opposite him, and he bowed down, right? Right. So before the Gemara is not up to the kasha yet. Right. So how did he bow down? You're not allowed to give shalom. Well, there means bowing down, but you're not allowed to give shalom to somebody at night. Maybe the person you're saying hello to is a shade. Yeah. So Shani Hut. So how did he do that? Shani Yosem Damar Leiki Anishe Isar Tzva Hashem. He said, I'm an officer in Hashem's army. So he knew it wasn't a shade. So what's the obvious kasha? But doing mashakri. I mean, shadim do all sorts of crazy things. They could lie too and say, right, he could say I'm an officer, but he really is a shade. So gemiri delay mifki shem shemayim levatala. So no, we have a gemiri, right? We said gemiri means it's a tradition, right? That's how we said it, tradition. A messiah that shadim don't say Hashem's name for no reason. So since he said he's a Sar Tzva Hashem, so Yeshua knew that he wasn't lying. Okay, either way, that's how he said hello to him. So Amar Loi, right? So now we get to the kasha. Emesh bitaltem Talmud Torah shel bein harbayim. That Talmud Torah. So B'taltam Talmud Shalbein Arbayim. Yesterday you mevatel the Talmud Shalbein Arbayim, right? Va'achshav B'taltam Talmud Torah. Now you're being mevatel Torah, meaning he's saying this war that you're fighting, you stopped the Talmud and you stopped learning. So Amrullah, Halezim and Basa. So Yeshua asked him, which one are you making a macha on the bittul of the carbon Talmud or on the Talmud Torah? Which one do you have a problem with? Amrullah, Ata Basi, I'm coming now, which is now is the Talmud Torah, because the Talmud was yesterday. He says, I'm coming now on the one that's now. Yeah, which Taisus is interesting. Taisus has a vart almost. You don't ever see that Taisus. I mean, it's very rare you see Taisus has a vart. So the second Taisus from the bottom says Ata Basi. He's referring to Torah because it says Va'ata kisvu lachem es ashira azois at the end of the Torah. Va'ata, right? The word Ata is referring to Torah, right? Rashi learns Ata Basi means I'm coming the one that's now, which is the Talmud Torah, because they weren't fighting then. But Taisus says it's more like a vart. Anyways, miyad. So immediately what happened is Vayolim Yeshua b'layla hu b'sayf ha'emek, and Yeshua slept that night in the valley. Amar Rabbi Yochanan on Talmud Beis now. Melamed shalon ba'imka shalalacha, that Yeshua was. He doesn't mean he was aimek in the valley. It means he was going into the depths of the Torah. Right. So what do you see? So V'amar Rav Shmuel on your gadol Talmud Torah Yosim HaKravas Tamidin Talmud Torah. Yeah.
So, but by Shavuos, when it said their bunch of them had to come wake them, they were sleeping Vayolim. So say the same thing. Maybe they were so deep in the sugya they couldn't get out of the sugya. Then bunch of them had to come getting them out of the sugya to come also Torah. Maybe it wasn't sleeping. If it's not sleeping by Yeshua, so who said it was sleeping by Klal Yisrael?
Oh, you wanna say okay? So now now we could all go to sleep Shavuos night.
Maybe, okay. Maybe they were heavy into the sugya. So it
could be. That could be Taka, right? Okay, maybe that would be a vart to explain Klal Yisrael, right? Yeah. Okay. And Chanami, I hear.
Which sugya would that be? Before they got the Torah, which sugya?
I don't know. Hachonas HaTorah.
The same sugyas that the others were learning for 87 years by Shem Ta'eva. There were sugyas to learn, even though they didn't get the Torah. What are you asking? What kind of...
They had the whole Torah.
Please.
Wow, now the whole Klal Yisrael of Torah Midbar on the level of the others?
Maybe.
You don't like it? All we know is they didn't live in Cleveland. That's one thing we know.
Okay. And yeah, all right, fine. V'amar Rav Shmuel, they don't live Farako either, but V'amar Rav Shmuel bar Unya, yeah, Gadol Talmud Torah Yosem Me'akravas Tamidin Shenemer Atabasi. Also, we learn out that Talmud Torah is more than Akravas Tamidin because it says Atabasi. Whatever it is, you see from this that Talmud Torah, Yeshua got flack from the Malach because of the Talmud Torah, not because of the bittul of the carbon Talmud. So you see that Talmud Torah is more important than the karbonis. So right. So then, how are you saying that it's a kol shekain? That if we mevatel the avodah, we're for sure mevatel Torah. No, Torah might be more important than avodah. Maybe somebody sitting and learning doesn't have to go hear the Megillah. So when it says like kasha had the rabbim had the yachid. One is Talmud Torah the rabbim. So what Yeshua was doing was the Talmud Torah the rabbim. Right, and the Gemara that says that Talmud Torah is, did I say the opposite? Right, and no, that's where it's a kol shekain Torah is talking about the Yachid. That's talking about a Yachid, right? So meaning Talmud Torah the Rabbim is more important than Avodah, but the Talmud Torah the Yachid is not. So the Gemara says that the Yachid Kal and the Yachid's Torah, that's less than avodah, but now noshim b'mayid. So this is talking about another thing that's hard to understand. Maybe this is why Megillah comes after Tainus. So Tainus, we're talking about the women dancing for Shidduchim on Tu B'Av, right? And on Yom Kippur, and here the women were singing by Levias. That seems what they did, right? The Tanan by Chol HaMoed, so they had these Levias. So you had to, they didn't allow full espadin. Part of espadin was that noshim b'mayid. What they would do on Chol HaMoed is ma'anos, right? they could sing avaloi metafchos, but they can't beat their chests, but making noise that way. That's the way Levias went down. So they couldn't do their full repertoire of a Levaya service on Chol Hamoed. Right? There's an interesting Rashi in the Tosfos.
Maybe they did a cappella.
It sounds right. It's even a cappella. They didn't let. Maybe that's a riot that a cappella is no good, right? Rabbi Shmuel Omer im hayu smuchas lemita matawas. If they were close to the mita, to the nifter, not close, I mean physically close during the levaya, then they could they could make they could be matawas. But Rosh Chodashim b'Chanukah v'Purim, but on Rosh Hashanah, on Rosh Chodashim Chanukah Purim, ma'anas u'matafkas b'zeh was that they could do both. They could beat the chest and they could also sing. But they can't do what we call kinnis, right? Which we'll see in a minute what that is. There's no such thing as mayid b'fnei Talmud Chacham. That's what we call a Chacham b'fanav. So by a Chacham, you do say a spedim. Kol shekain Chanukah Purim, and a Kol shekain on Chanukah Purim when a Talmud Chacham is nifter. So we do say a spedim.
So what's the question? I don't understand. What's the question here?
So we're saying that you see that Torah is
this
more important than reading
this
the
Talmud
Megillah.
Chacham. This Talmud Chacham we're referring to is talking about a Talmud Chacham that learned on his own.
Each individual Talmud Chacham.
All the Chol Hamoed, you're allowed to do this stuff for a Talmud Chacham. This is a Talmud Chacham that learned on his own and didn't learn in a shir.
That's basic. Yeah, right. Well, yeah. That's what you have.
How do we know that?
No, just
so I'm saying.
Talmud
So what's
Chacham,
the question here?
No, I don't think it makes a difference how he learned. It's right now. It's one Talmud Chacham. It's only one Talmud Chacham who was nifter. Right? It's one Talmud Chacham that we're doing this.
So exactly what is so we're trying to prove here what that we just said that learning Barabim is more important than learning Biyachid.
Correct. And now we're saying that Torah of a Yachid is also going to be Daicha Purim, because you see it's Daicha Purim. It's Daicha Purim, right? So I guess the assumption is that it's going to be Daicha Megillah, meaning Torah is I'm sorry, that Torah will not be Daicha. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. Torah will be Daicha Megillah Leini, right? Because Torah is more important. We're saying that a Talmud Chacham, we do a Spadim, means that we said it's not Purim. What do you mean it's Purim? There's no Espedim. No, because he's a Talmud Chacham. So that means that Torah is more important than Purim, which means Torah is more important than the Megillah. Right? That's essentially what the Gemara's kasha is. Right?
See, Yaakov,
yeah.
I'm trying to. I didn't understand this Gemara this morning either. You should live with me well. Rabbi Yeshua's Megillah lighting is gorgeous, but it's over an hour. My Shvel B'Shalom went in the Shtibel where everybody went to work on Purim. He did the Megillah in 18 minutes. So 18 minutes you could spare to still be Megillah at some point in the 15 hours of the day.
Maybe they didn't cut that it wasn't Pesach.
What?
Maybe they got confused. Maybe they thought the Megillah
said 18 minutes. 18 minutes.
18 minutes. Sorry, I'm right. Yeah. We're not as quick as in Lakewood, so anyway, so and you're right. Maybe you should do it faster, not to be Mevatel Torah. I could hear that. I think you'll have a lot of the Talmidim from the yeshivas going to that laning, but
I mean, anyway, I would just hope that people are learning instead of after they have quick Megillah reading.
That's a different issue, but we're not going down that road now, right? But anyways, so the way Tosfos understands the question is that it's mutter to say a hesped, even though you're being mevatel Mikra Megillah. So you see Talmud Torah is chamer from Mikra Megillah, right? That's the way Tosfos learns it. Others don't learn it like that. Either way, that's the Gemara's kasha. The Gemara answers covered Torah kamer. You're talking about covered Torah, covered Torah the Yachid chamer, Talmud Torah the Yachid kal. Covered Torah of a Yachid is chamer. Because Kavod Torah is a chashuv thing. Talmud Torah the Yachid, that's more mekel, right? And Yonah the Yom, I have a bris in Chaim Berlin tomorrow. There you go, Kavod Torah, right? Okay, so fine. So that's what it's saying. There's a difference in Kavod Torah and Limud Torah. So what's interesting is like what is to be mekainen, right? The women are not mekainenes. So what is mekainen? So Rashi and Tosfos both say that mekainen is where one person calls it out and the rest answer. That's ma'ira people's hearts even more, right? Right. That's a Rashi of Elohim Mekoinus, and that's where we get that by davening when it's something a chashuv tefillah. When it's a chashuv tefillah, that's why you have a chazan say one and everybody repeat after, because for whatever reason, I don't know psychologically why that works, but it seems like when you're trying to be ma'ira people, so you have somebody read one pasuk and then everybody answers after them, right? Okay, fine. That's what a kin is. Fine. So I'm a Rava. Fighting Gemara. I'm a Rava. Pshitali avodu mikra megillah.
Sorry, Tzvi, doesn't that kind of prove the idea that women? I don't know how to say it. That women can like be part of the field, lead field, and stuff like that.
It's a good kasha, Simon. It is most certainly a good kasha. I can't say I understand the answer, but yes.
I mean, unless these aren't tefillas and they're just like bakashos and things like that, maybe I don't know, but
it's a good question. It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Society definitely changed, right? We said at the end of Tainus with the girls dancing for shidduchim, things have obviously changed. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's how they did the shira, according to one sheet, that they one said it and then they all answered by Miriam.
Right. Okay, right. Yeah, Hanami. Yeah, so that's the same type thing. They also said shira liyam.
The truth is, maybe if we bring some of that back, it'll solve the shidduch crisis.
Could be. Could very well be. Could be. Okay, so let's divide. If you have the avodah mikra megillah, like we just said, so mikra megillah is adif. And how does he know? The Midri Yossi bar Chanina. He knows this from Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina. Right now, I don't understand what he's adding to the mix here. It seems to be that's exactly what Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina said. Right? It was Rava sounds like Pshita Li. When Pshita Li, Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina said it. Right? There's got to be something I'm missing in that Gemara there. To what he was doing. Either way, Talmud Torah Mikra Megillah and learning a Mikra Megillah Adif with the Samchus Shal Beis Rebbe, because the Beis Rebbe said that we're going to leave yeshiva to go to hear the Megillahs. Talmud Torah Meis Mitzvah Adif. Also, one second before we go to the Vaitis, there's a kasha that the Mefarshim will ask. What do you mean Mavatim Talmud Torah? Isn't Megillah part of the Torah? Right? Isn't the Megillah part of the Torah? It's in Ksuvim, right? So what do you mean you're Mevatel Talmud Torah? You're just switching your learning to Nach. So the yeshiva guys are going to say, you see, right. Then you see Nach is not Talmud Torah, right? That's what the yeshiva guys are going to say. But Mastava, that's not such a good teretz. And that's another thing is that, and it says they come to hear. So I forgot who says the teretz. That what it means is that it's Mevatel Talmud Torah, that you take them out of yeshiva to go to the shul, so that you should have Roiv Am. The chiddush is that it's Roiv Am that's being Mevatel the Talmud Torah, not just to go to hear the Megillah.
That's the din in the Mishnah Berurah. Yes.
Right. Or it's to hear Rabbi Kurland's long laning.
Right.
That's where the Roiv Am is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyways.
See that l'chayr from Rabbi Yossi Reb Chanina. Otherwise, you wouldn't be mevatel any avodah. You make shtiblech in the side of the Beis HaMikdash.
Yeah.
Every time one group has finished their carbon, they go, and then the next.
I mean, you're saying so. Then why not just have multiple shtiblech?
Yeah, that's why they have to be mevatel the avodah. That's.
I hear very good, Taka, very good. Okay, so the Talmud Torah Meis Mitzvah. What about Talmud?
What do you say? What's the reason for that? What do you say? Because the Baroi Bam?
Yeah, meaning what he's saying, Gershon is saying, that's what Rabban is saying, Gershon is saying, that why in the Beis HaMikdash, when you finish, those that are the kanim that are being Magduk Rabbanis, so they won't say Megillah, they'll do it later minyan, right? They'll have a shtibelach in the Beis HaMikdash. Elamai, they wanted one big length. Oh, so now Talmud Torah Meis Mitzvah, let's say you have to bury somebody or Talmud Torah. So what comes first? Meis Mitzvah Adif. Meis Mitzvah is better. Right? That's also in Yonah Diyama for me. So you mevatel Talmud Torah for Tzos Meis and Achnosas Kala. Right? So there's a fascinating thing about this. I mean, basically, if you know that there's Levias, so sometimes Shayoshav has Levias. So guys sit in the Bismerish and learn. You can't I don't know if you have to you have to stop learning for Hespedim, the stomach not. But once the procession starts, you're mechuyev to stop learning. I'm saying if you're sitting and you look outside and you see that there's a levaya, you got to stop learning. Same thing with a chasana, right? If you're driving by the White Shul, let's say, and you look out the window and you see a chasana, if you see a chuppah, you're mechuyev to stop and you gotta partake. And in
So
the
the people
chuppah.
who learn during the chuppah?
I was about to say, so the guy sitting with a Gemara by chuppah.
It's yeah, that's true. I don't think you'll see anybody legit learning by the chuppah. I don't think you'll see. But I would.
Aaron,
Yeah,
there's a-
What does that mean? The people who are doing it, they look legit.
I don't know. I never saw, but during the actual chuppah, no. Before waiting around and for the procession.
Yeah, when the little kids walk down the aisle, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What constitutes the chuppah?
No, the chuppah means b'shas the actual marriage.
The
Yeah,
brachas,
but
the harayat.
legit people are up there.
That's okay. That's true.
Yaakov is a Maisa or a footnote in Reb Shlomo with that.
The what?
There was somebody learning during the dancing. So we were talking about this morning, Taka. Somebody was learning during the dancing. So the Rosh Yeshiva called her Reb Shlomo. Shlomo was a bacher, and so he said, Shlomo, gei zagim dem bacher, as du as a chasen, du tanzmen, aber wilt lernen, lass ihm gehen zu Beis Medrash, du tanzmen. Me lernt nicht, me du tanzmen.
Very right. That's what you got to. That's yeah. And that's what the question is also. Chasana is what? Is the chasana the chuppah or the dance or both?
Yeah.
Right. Now I'll tell you a fascinating thing. It's a fascinating thing in Halicha Shloima from Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. So it's unbelievable. So there was a story there where somebody was flying to America and he was going to ask. So he went to Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach to see if there's any shilas that have to be asked to Rav Moshe. So it was a shvera geras shaila that had to be asked, and so the fellow went to Rav Moshe and asked the shvera geras shaila, and Rav Moshe answered him off the cuff. Then he asked Rav Moshe, "What do you do when you get an invitation to a chasana? So you know that there's a chasana taking place. What's the heter not to go to the chasana? If it says Mavatim Talmud Torah to go to Achnosas Kala." Rav Moshe said it's a shvera shaila. I don't have the answer to that question. Right? The geras shaila, he didn't know. He was no problem. This shaila he didn't know, and it was bavust, I think, by and Rav David Feinstein too. And he was invited to a chasana. He went to the chasana. Rav Moshe went to the chasanas. He did it. So, but the heter that the pais can bring is because you have no idea when the chasanas start. Maybe this is a limud zchus why all chasanas get delayed. So you have no idea when it's actually going to be. But it sounds like if you knew exactly when the chas is going to be, you might be mechuyev to stop what you're doing and to leave and to go. Right? Rav Shlomo Zalman in that same shtickle paskins that if you didn't daven mincha and you're by a chuppah and it's shkia time, you miss mincha. You daven 2 ma'ariv, right? Because you can't leave.
Well, Tzviakov, if you're in Williamsburg, you have no problem anyways.
Correct. That's right. So that you could be at the wrong time in Williamsburg too. Whatever it is, meaning we machavek chasanas, right? And we hang out in the hallway during the chuppah and this and that. It's not pashut at all. It's really not pashut at all. Anyways, okay, it's a little late. Fine. Avoida umeis mitzvah. So doing the avoida meis mitzvah adif. Meis mitzvah is going to be more important. How do you know that? Maybe from the achaisa, from the sister of the kohen, right? Because what the Tanya of achaisa, what it says. Why when a kohen becomes tummy to his sister? Why is it saying? Well, actually, I'm sorry, but a nazir, right? That it becomes he becomes tummy. Yeah. So they could all learn it out from the relatives. So what's la alachaisai? So if somebody's going to Shef the Korban Pesach, or he's going to give a bris to his son. Yeah, and now he has a levaya to go to V'shama shemeis loy meis, and he has a meis, meaning a relative. Rashi says it's a brother or a sister. Yochel yitame, you would think that he should become tamei, and then he won't be able to bring the Korban Pesach. So Amrit lo yitame, the pasuk's telling you no, don't become tamei. Oh, so Yochel shem shenim mitame la'achayis kachenim mitame la'meis mitzvah. So you think, okay, if he can't become tamei to his sister, so he can't become tamei to a meis mitzvah. Tamei lemer v'la'achayis. It says v'la'achayis. La'achayis hu de'enim mitame ava mitame la'meis mitzvah. To his sister, he's not mitame, but he is mitame to a meis mitzvah. So what do you see? That the meis mitzvah is more important than the avodah. Okay, so then Bayirava, Mikra Megillah, Mace Mitzvah, Heiminai Other. What about a Levaya and Mikra Megillah? What's more important? Mikra Megillah Other Mishum Pesumi Nisa. Is Mikra Megillah more important because Pesumi Nisa? Aydom and Mace Mitzvah Other, or maybe Mace Mitzvah is more important, Mishum Kavod Abrius. Because Kavod Abrius, that you need to bury the dead. So Basa Debai, Hada Pashte, after they asked the Shaila, then they went back and they answered it, Mace Mitzvah Adif. Mace Mitzvah is more important. Damar Mar Gadol Kavod Abrius Shadaichas Loisaseh Shabbatayra. Kavod Abrius is Daicha Loisaseh. We know that a Zaken, who it's below his dignity to pick up a lost object, is an Isser to walk by a lost object, right? But somebody who's a Zaken or a Gadol, so it's embarrassing for him to bend down and pick up a quarter from the floor, so he's potted from it. Because Kavod Abrius is Daicha Loisaseh Shabbatayra. So therefore, if it's Daicha Loisaseh Shabbatayra, so for sure it's going to be Daicha reading the Megillah. So bottom line is if you have a choice to read the Megillah or to go to do a Levaya, so then you got to do the Levaya. This doesn't, Mace Mitzvah's lav.
Yaakov, it's read the Megillah or hear the Megillah?
Either one.
No, because I can read it by myself later.
Right. So that's what comes out is in the Halacha Lamaisa, right? That if you have time, that you can hold off the Levaya, and it's not a rush to hold off a Levaya, then you would read the Megillah first. You have to know exactly if this is really talking about where there's mamish no time. But if there'll be time, then
why can you do fakir?
You could do fakir, but you could.
There's no Zman in Megillah. It's a whole day.
Yeah, so I don't remember the Mishnah Brura. The Mishnah Brura goes through the different scenarios when you would do the Levaya first and when you would do the Megillah first. I don't remember offhand how he comes out. Yeah.
Right, there's no Zman in Megillah. You have the whole day to do it. We do it in the morning, but by Yom you could do it.
Well, we do it because reason Makdim, and we do it as reason Makdim. Yeah, I don't remember what exactly Mr. Buddha says. Or maybe I'll look it up for tomorrow.
Anything to do with the Einon, the people waiting that are Einon?
No, I don't think that's part of the cheshbon. They would have to.
Einon has a chiyuv to hear Megillah?
No, yeah, after the Levaya. After the Levaya, you'd have to hear it.
Right, so if you do it before, you can't hear it.
Where's Reb Henoch? Reb Henoch's not on. He had his, right? What was a few years ago?
His mother, yeah.
His mother's Levaya.
Levaya was on Purim, yeah.
Yeah, Levaya was on Purim. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. The Gufa, Amar Rabbi Shua Levi, Krach v'chala samach loy v'chala nira imay nidan kekrach. So the city,
Yaakov, when I told my Zevi, he said, Abi, you better hope that he doesn't need you for the minyan in New Jersey. That's all.
yeah.
We would have seen how strong that friendship really is.
It went by. He didn't need me. He had minyan without me.
Yeah. So it's a goof.
My grandfather was nifter on Purim. We had clowns gate crash the Levaya.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting things in that Levaya.
I can imagine. Anyways, okay. So goof. Krach v'chala samach loy. The walled city and anything that's close to it, v'chala nira imay, and anything that can be seen with it. We said this yesterday. Nidan kekrach, it has a din of a city. Right, even though meaning it has the din of the walled city, and you'd read it on the 15th. Tana samach avabishain in nira. If it's close, even if you can't see it, nira, if you can see it, even though it's not avabishain samach, you know it's not close. So what does that mean? Bishlam and nira, that you could see it avabishain samach, even though it's not close. So that's fairly simple. Mashkach going to Yasba B'Rosh Shahar, where the city is on top of the mountain. So therefore, it's close, right? You could see it, but it's not close because it could be a mile up. You look down from the mountain, you see the walled city, but it's not necessarily close. How do you find it? Which again, I don't know why this is so complicated. Right? The town is in a valley. Right? So you can't see it, but it could be close. Right? You could have a valley that you can't see, but then you're close. Fine. So let's say you have a city, right? That had houses, and then they surrounded it with walls. So meaning the houses were there first, and then they put up the walls. Then Nidan Kekfar, it gets the din of an unwalled city. My time, right? When somebody sells a house in Ir Chaim, the din by Ir Chaim in a walled city is that there's a 1 year warranty on the sale of the house. If you sell a house in a walled city, the person can go back on the sale for 1 year, right? So,
How does it apply with a gated community today?
I don't know, Taka. We don't have that din. It's in Eretz Yisrael anyways, and it's not negay anymore. But yeah. So shehukaf ulebasayf yashav. That's mashma that the city first was surrounded with a wall, and then it was not where there were houses and then surrounded by a wall. If you have a city that doesn't have 10 batlanim, which basically means 10 men sitting in shul, so that they could always be around for minyanim, etc., etc. So then it has a din of a kfar. It has a din of a village. Micah Mashmalan, what are you trying to teach us? Tina, we learned Ezir Gedoyla. What's considered a large city? Kol sheyesh basara batlanim. It would have as 10 batlanim. Pachas mikan harei ze kfar. So it's a kfar. So what's yichidish? So the Gemara answers, krach. It's strictly no. You need to be you need it to tell you about the city. Avagav de mekali le ma'alma. Even though people travel into the city from other places, and they're just sitting around. The people are vacationing. So they're sitting around. You might have 10 people sitting around every day. It's just not the same 10 people. So that's not considered Asara Batlanim. It has to be a steady Asara Batlanim that live in the city. Okay, just one more. If you have a city that was destroyed and then it was rebuilt, it still has the din of a krach. So now what does this mean? What does it mean is destroyed? If you think it means that the walls fell down, Yoshav in, so that sounds like only if the walls were rebuilt, Lo Yoshav Loi. But if the walls were not rebuilt, then it's not. What do you mean? V'hatani, we learned it. Asher Loi Chayma, Afal Pi Shein Loi Achshav, V'haya Loi Kaidon L'chein. He says it has walls, even though it doesn't have walls now, but it had before. So that's considered a walled city. So this had walls and then they fell down. So you don't have to rebuild the walls. You're still going to be considered a walled city, right? That's what you have. That's what you have in Tveria, right? Tveria, the Masupik. There's no walls there now, right? There's no walls in Tveria. Tzfas also. Tzfas is also a Suffolk or a Vade. The old city in Tzfas is a Vade or a Suffolk? I don't remember. Whatever it is, but they don't have walls because you don't need walls. You only needed walls then. Elamai charav. What does it mean? Shecharav me'asara batlanim. A very interesting teretz. It was destroyed from the asara batlanim, meaning they no longer had asara batlanim. So now what does that mean? And when they get back asara batlanim, so then it gets back the status of a city. Taisa says, what's the chiddush? I mean, of course, it has 10 batlanim. Why shouldn't it be? So Taisa says, no, we're not. Maybe you'd be concerned that since they had 10 and then they lost them, so just because they got them back doesn't mean they're not going to lose it again. So that's what the Gemara's chiddush is, that we're not going to go with that. Let's just do. Okay, I'm sorry, just one more. Yeah. For Amar Rabbi Shimon Levi Lud v'ainai Antamid Aleph. Yeah.
That was this Asara Batlanim thing like a big deal? It was like a big accomplishment.
Well, we said yesterday, Phoenix is still looking for our son of Batlanim.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
You're getting there. I know. I gotta move there. You'll have a few more Batlanim.
Hopefully by Purim.
What do you mean? What does it mean? It means 10 people. Like it's a kailo.
No. I understand what it means. I'm saying, but was that a big deal? Was that a big accomplishment? Like if you lived in a city with Asara Batlanim, that was like a thing.
That made it an
established
stuff a little bit. That
makes it a city, not a town. That's all.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Even though you're the 5th largest city in America with 1,600,000 people, you still can't do it. So,
yeah.
Well, not in one place. Maybe if you collect the whole city, we do. But,
right, I hear.
We're working on it.
Okay, they're working on it. Okay, we'll stop here. It's already. I didn't cop it so late. We'll stop here. Okay, tomorrow night might have to start it pretty sharp because I'll be by my niece's Chassan Bez Hashem. So yeah, so I don't want to. Fine. Okay.
That
was a good night.
Good
night.
It's Yaakov.
Yes.
Reb Shmuel Birnbaum would famously not be Masada Kedushin at a wedding unless he did it after second Seder. I don't know if he wouldn't come, he wouldn't be Masada Kedushin. So what's the chat?
No, so he wasn't.
He was pushing it off. He was just delaying it.
Yeah, Yeah,
He wouldn't come if you told him that it was earlier. He wouldn't come. He wouldn't be mevatel.
Right, but
that's what you're saying. 'Cause it's
What's
Fakir
that?
from
He wouldn't
Moshe,
go
you're
to the
saying.
wedding, or he wouldn't be Masada Kedushin?
No, but he wouldn't come. He wouldn't be Masada Kedushin, but he wouldn't be there.
I think his point was that no one would have the chutzpah to ask him to come to one in the middle of second Seder once he set the boundaries. Who's gonna have the chutzpah to invite him to a chasna?
What do you mean? No, but Yitzi, he's going to say the same teretz. I don't know when your chuppah's being. Right?
So only the people who are making it later would go ahead and invite him to be Masada Kedushin.
Right, no, but even if they did invite him, he says, we mean the same heter. How do we know? How come every night we don't have to go drive to Williamsburg?
Right.
That would be a long drive for me.
Than doing the daf. Maybe we should stop the daf every night. We go to Williamsburg, get ourselves food, and go to chasana. Why not? Doing great.
Wait, how far would you have to go?
Because they were
Would I have
inviting
to
him.
come in
They were
every day?
inviting
Yeah, maybe this is part of the shot. You know, when the Lubavitchers wanted the Rebbe to be Messiah Kedushin, before he stopped, they would make it on his front steps.
Okay, maybe that's why.
Right.
No, but so Yitzi, so that's what I'm saying. We don't know when the chas. That's what Ramosha was saying. It's schwer, but the ma'aser, the meaning in the Welt is that we don't go to chasanas. So him too, just because somebody told me, he doesn't know exactly when the chasana is. Also, you have to say at some point we have to say that Baruch Hashem, because of technology. I don't want to get into the whole technology thing. Like, what was in the gay and the shtetl? How many chasanas did they have? Everybody knew about it. You had to leave Bismerish. Now, because of technology, like Gershon said, how far do you have to drive to a chasana? How far you have to go? Right?
No, you said if you're passing by the white shul and there's a chasana, you have to stop. Somebody gave him an invitation. So here someone's giving him an invitation. They're inviting him to the wedding.
But you don't know when. That's the thing. You just don't. He's inviting you to a wedding. You just don't know when it is. So what do you have to stay there all day? Maybe. But one second,
maybe Yitzi's saying if the guy was a yeki and everybody knew this guy was a yeki, he's told 7 o'clock, whatever time the chuppah is going to be, it's going to be. What do you do then?
And a chanami, you might just have to. Okay. You might just have to.
It's also possibly a dangerous question to answer. Because if you answer it, then if how far you'll have to go, let's say, I don't know, 10 miles, whatever you call it, and you're more than 10 miles away, you have no head to be enough to Talmud Torah for your own chasna. I mean, for your child's chasna or whatever.
Gershon, let me know how that conversation works out for you.
What?
Listen,
who said I'm being mevatel Talmud Torah? You go when I do Talmud Torah?
Didn't Reb Chaim Kanievsky not go? He came home for his kid's bris, and didn't the Stipler send him back, or the Chazon Ish send him back?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, he said, yeah. Why? What's the mitzvah for you to be by your son? You're not the mile. Go back to yeshiva.
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever.
That's Talmud Torah. That's real Talmud Torah.
Right. Doesn't say for me.
That's what a Sarah Bat Lamim means. That's why it's such a big deal. You need 10 people who like that. They're mevatel themselves to the Ratzon Hashem.
No, I heard today on one of the Magidiyah Shir by Sully. He said Pshat and Sarah Bat Lamim is they don't know what it means to do batala.
Right. That's what it means.
What
They're mevatel from work because they have complete and utter emunah b'tachon in the Eibishter that what we call hishtadlus for parnasa isn't a geya to them.
No, but he said it's like a lush. It's a lush. What's it called? Like a sayinor. Is that the word batala doesn't exist in there? Like what you're saying.
That's the point. Yeah.
It
doesn't mean batala from what we call bittul Torah. That's not what they're doing. These people are constantly learning. These are goyim we're talking about. I wonder how many cities Taka were kraken.
Had a Sarah Bat Planim?
Yeah.
So the kids are a kid get out of going to Chaim Berlin tomorrow. You're saying that's what you.
Oh, he better not get out of it.
Let me tell you. Yeah.
He's in the doghouse.
I'm in the basement.
You're going to the bris. Are you coming back to Farakaway?
I am.
All right. You going with your family? You going with your family?
Just me and my wife.
I might. My mother's gonna go from there to Lakewood.
So I'm leaving here. I'm leaving here at 7:45.
That's what I'm gonna leave. I guess maybe I'll go back with your father. Maybe, I need to go be Menachem Avil somebody. So maybe I'll see.
Let me know. I'll take you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so you might just be out the whole day, Tzvi You go
I'm
to the
pretty
bris and
much
go straight
I'm
to
pretty
Lakewood?
much between a bris in Brooklyn and back to Far Rockaway, then off to Lakewood, and then back from Lakewood, then back to Lakewood for Shabbos, and it's gonna be Freilich.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Why you have to come back?
My wife teaches.
No wife?
I do Zoom.
Oh,
Zoom.
yeah.
It makes no difference where I am. But I guess I gotta check the air. That'll pay for the tax for the gas and the tolls. Yeah.
I hear.
Yeah.
Hi, Curly.
Right.
Curly
Anyway,
doesn't know how to unmute himself, Tiago.
okay, maybe he does. And he
I
just
think Peretz is saying he wishes I was Curly.
He's lost in Saginora again.
And we're not even talking about your hair.
Yeah. All right. Fine and dandy.
All right.
Okay, so Jacob,
I'll let you know by the bris. I'll see by the bris.
I'm saying in the morning if you want. Oh, you're going with your mother. Okay, let me know.
Yeah, I'm going with my mother. Yeah.
No problem.
All right.
It's Yaakov.
Yes.
My shver is going to be at the wedding tomorrow night. It's his Mechutton's grandson. Is the chassan.
Is Mechutton's?
My Felder. The chassan's grandfather is Felder. So my brother-in-law is a Felder. It's my father-in-law's Mechutton's.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I'll have to
grandson.
look out.
So if you have any of the Yekish questions, he's your man.
Oh, I forgot. Right. He's the Yeka man. Okay, I'm gonna look out for him. I'll look out.
Yeah. He's the president.
Ask him what time it is.
He's Mamish the president.
He's Mamish the president of KAJ. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Wait,
impressive.
so Tiago Bayekas, if they make a chasa, you know exactly what time it is.
And a
What we
Hanami,
said.
you might have an issue. You might have an issue.
But by my chassan, I wanted to say goodnight to him. He left already. It was over already. That was it. It was finished. He was gone.
Yitzi, you say he's the guy that the joke's about when he called his wife on December 4th. It's him.
But he's self-deprecating. He'll he can take a joke. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Jacob,
All right.
we can't relate to such a guy.
Absolutely not. Nope.
Does he know the joke about the Yeka and the Svardi?
I'm sure he does.
The guy who
What's the
beats his
joke?
wife 9 o'clock sharp every day.
Jacob, speaking of which, we make fun of Moshe Hertzberg that in his next life in the Gilgal, he's got to come back as a Yeki. Is that great or what?
Yes. Yeah. I got some family.
I'm not sure
members
this should be
that say
recorded.
It's okay. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.